Well, welcome back to another episode of Paint Society. In this episode, I'm going to show you the most simplest paint gun adjustment to lay down a beautiful clear coat finish. And thanks for joining me on this video. Now in this video, we're going to talk about how we're going to take this brand new fender and turn it into a beautiful flat finish. And this fender right here belongs to an Acura RDX. It will get full paint and we will be blending the door and the hood as well. And the finish on this particular fender has to be very flat because the actual particular car, in this case, is a very flat OEM finish. And we're going to show you how to make an adjustment with your air and your fan so you can get a very easy to spray clear coat finish. But before we can lay down that beautiful finish, we have to have a beautiful substrate. And it starts with sealer. This is a white sealer. Basically, it is a thinned out primer that does not get sanded. And no, that does not mean you can take your primer and thin it out. You're gonna have to look into the technical data sheets to see if your primer can be made and mixed into a sealer. For this, we're using a 3M gun. I'm using a 1.2, but this is a thinner sealer. You can look and check out the technical data sheets and can probably use a 1.2, 1.3, or even a 1.4. This gun gets sprayed around 20 PSI in a 3M gun, and we're gonna lay down one nice coat. We're keeping a 75 to 80% overlap, and it covers absolutely well. By using that 1.2, that's gonna help the sealer, well, dry a little bit quicker so we can move into base and clear coat much sooner. Also, don't forget your edges, very important, so when the door opens up, it's not showing black. And of course, inside of the fender. One coat is all you'll need, and it's pretty much completely covered. It's protected now, and it's ready for its base coat once it flashes. And if you want that clear coat finish to lay flat and smooth, well, you have to be patient. You can see this is about 5 minutes later, and it's still not completely flashed. You see how it's still kind of shiny here, but if we move the camera over in some of the other areas, it's a little bit more dull. Well, we want everything to look similar to this. So let's be a little bit more patient. Let's do something else in the shop, and let's allow it to flash a little bit longer. And here we can see now, it is completely flashed. It's not glossy or anything like that. At this point, if you have any dirt or dust, this has been a good time to lightly sand it down. You can use a 600 grit if you need to. We're gonna go ahead and roll with our base coat. You just saw us lay down that first coat of base coat. Well, shortly after, we put down two. Now really, since we used that sealer, our base covered very well. And a lot of guys in the production shops will use those sealers, but at home, you don't really need to use them because sometimes it can add to how dirty the actual panel will come out. So you can always lightly sand your base coat if you got any more dirt. Now at this point, we're putting two coats of pearl on. I'll just show you the one. You don't need to use the trick yet that I'm gonna show you because the trick with the clear coat is really going to atomize the finish. And we don't wanna do that too much with our base or our pearl because it can really distort what we're trying to do with our color, and especially that on silver or any metallic for that matter. Let's go ahead and lay down one quick coat here, and then we'll do another coat off camera. So our pearl, we did two coats, it's all dry. And now we're gonna talk about that little paint gun adjustment that's gonna make all the difference. Now, if you're a beginner or even a veteran, Be careful with this because it can get you in trouble. You know, those flat finishes are just one pass away from a run. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have the gun set at wide open here. To do that, remember, you back out that fluid just about all the way to the point where it almost comes out, but don't let it come out, okay? Hold it upside down so that the paint doesn't come out, or you can do it without the paint. And then we're going to dial it in until it stops, because we're holding the trigger right here, okay? So it stopped. So that means that now at this point, the fluid is maximized, it's set at wide open. Our fan is where the trick lies, okay? So first I'm going to show you what the fan looks like without doing the gun adjustments. Now this is a W400, it's the same thing for LPH 400, it's the same thing for any gun. But the fact is, this is really going to show it much better. Now you can see how wide that fan is. Now, that is a good thing for our base, for, you know, our pearls. It really is a good fan to have, but on clear coat, sometimes we need to narrow it in. But how much do we narrow it in? Well, here's a little trick I want to show you. So first, we want to find our pressure, any pressure. You're going to set it, let's say, around 20 PSI, and you're going to hold it halfway. See how there's no paint coming out, but there's just air? And this is what you really want to look at. So we're going to start to look at that gauge, and we're going to dial in the fan right here. And as soon as that gauge moves just a touch, that's when we find our fan. Okay, so I'm moving it slowly, you focus in on that, and when it bumps up a little bit, I'm still moving it. Keep moving it. And you see it moved up right there, just ever so slightly. It moved up just about a pound, okay? It was in or around maybe 20 PSI, in or around there. Now look at our fan. Take a look. Do you see how it's cut down so dramatically? Now by doing this, we've taken all the dryness out of on the ends of the fan, and we've narrowed it in. So now we're really gonna have beautiful atomization in this area right here. So that means now we have to move a little bit quicker because it's gonna be laying it down very, very fast. So in real time, our first coat will not be perfect, but if we take a look at it, this is just sprayed. It has not any time to flow out. That finish looks perfect for a beautiful OEM finish. Granted, we still need to put 2 coats on it, so we're gonna allow this to flash for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll apply our second coat, and I'll show you any changes that we can possibly make before we spray it down. So it's been 10 minutes, and I already know your next question. Do I have to start at that pressure, 20 to 21 PSI? You start at whatever pressure you want, but if you want to change your pressure, you need to reset. So let me show you what I mean right there. So if you want to reset your pressure, you're going to take that fan knob and you're going to turn it all the way open once again. So let's say you want to spray around 24 PSI, okay? So you'll dial in around 24 PSI, you hold this down, and once more, this is our new preset. So watch that, and I'll dial in here, and when it bumps up and moves just a little bit, right there, it moved ever so slightly. Then check out our fan. That means it's set at that ideal fan width for that pressure, okay? And it will vary depending on the actual pressure itself, okay? So if you have a higher pressure, then the fan, it's not gonna be as narrow. So if you have lower pressure, the fan might be a little bit more narrow. So play around with this trick. We're ready to go. We're gonna spray down our second coat. We're gonna move a touch slower and really smooth things out. And after 20 minutes, guys, we have a beautiful factory style finish, a very flat orange peel finish. This is exactly what you would get out of the factory. If you were to hold this fender up to another OEM fender, you would not be able to tell. And that's exactly what we want. We don't want dead flat. Dead flat means that, you know, it's been painted, and dead flat is just as much a giveaway as a bad color match. Now, of course, this is getting blended, so it'll match 100%, but you can see how well and how smooth and how effective this paint adjustment trick really truly is. You guys saw it live here. Very simple, not a lot to configure on the spray gun, and you can use it for any spray gun. And remember, guys, you can use this trick on any spray gun, all right? Now, I like to use the Iwata because it's a very good spray gun that a lot of beginners can afford if they're going with the Kiwami or even an LPH 400. It's not a top dollar spray gun, but you know, the build quality is still there, and if you're looking to spend just a little bit of money, you'll get something that will really give you a big return. Now, you can use this trick on any panel, on anything, but be cautious. Try it first somewhere else, because remember, you're only one pass away from a run when doing something like this. But what it basically does to the spray gun is it takes the fan and it narrows it in, and it gives you pretty much the meat of the fan and nothing else. So when you lay it down, you know, it's atomizing and it's putting down smooth instead of just a whole bunch of dry spray. And we've all been there before. I hope this trick and adjustment helps you guys. This is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it. It's just paint. I'll see you guys on the next episode.